Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and as you can tell from the title, today we're going to be discussing a little bit more about dogs and puppies. So this is going to be doggy care part 2. I realized since I posted the last video, a lot of you had questions and comments and just basically wanted to know a bit more of a few of the stuff in detail, right? So I made my list, so we're going to be going through it today. Alright, so the first thing was eating habits of dogs and puppies. How can you develop good eating habits? Because in some cases, animals tend to be overweight, right? So a few of you asked, how can you basically prevent that? Or if it has already happened, how can you stop it? So when they're at their puppy stage is the best time to train them, right? Puppies can eat up to 4 times per day, and then after that you break them into twice a day. You break it down to twice a day, morning and night, right? There are some breed of dogs, again, who can eat maybe once for the day, but I personally don't like that. I think they should eat twice a day, just like humans, breakfast and dinner, right? So you want to train them from they are extremely young. You don't want to spoil them, right? You don't want to spoil them. So you want to try to instill that level of discipline with them, right? So you ensure that you give them the soft kibble, which, as I said in the video before, either can be mixed with water or in some cases warm milk if it is, a necessity. And you give that to them, and sometimes they'll just drink the milk or the water as a start, and then they'll take their time, eat 1 and 2 kibble, and as they grow they eat more, and you just observe them. The overeating aspect of it, now you have to cut that out right then and there. If you realize you have a dog that is constantly hungry, it can be one of 2 things. It can be the breed of dog, because there are some breeder dogs that do eat a lot, right? And it can also be the fact that the dog might just be a bit spoiled. So the same way how you would break the puppy into eating from 4 times a day to 2 times a day, is the same thing you do with a dog that might be going into the overweight stage, right? It is again something that requires discipline and patience. With dogs, you have to be patient. Puppies, you have to be patient. It's something that is time consuming and takes effort, right? So being a dog parent is not for everybody, I can tell you that, right? Secondly, someone asked about potty training. This is something I forgot to address in the last video, so I'll be doing it here. So potty training them starts from birth, right? When our puppies are born, they are in a welting box, as I mentioned before in the last video, right? Them and mommy dog, welting box, right? Now the welting box has in newspaper, right? Or an old towel, right? But if you put an old towel or an old sheet in there, you have to watch them, because they will get under the sheet or the towel and suffocate and die, and you don't want that, right? So from birth, if they're used to the newspaper, what I noticed my mom does, she only uses newspaper, right? So from birth, they're trained, they're in that space, they know that, okay, this material I feel under my feet, I go to the bathroom, right? So when you move them from the welting box now to an enclosed or a little bit bigger enclosed space, right? When you put down newspaper for them, you have to say to them, okay, go and pee, go and poo. We talk to our dogs, right? Now when for example, if you have tile in the house, they're walking around the tile, once they hit newspaper, they feel that same material, they're gonna say, okay, this is where I go to the bathroom. If they make a mistake, you reprimand them for it, if you see who it is, because some of the times you're not going to say, especially if you have a lot of dogs, you don't know who made the mistake, right? But if it is that you do see that a dog is peeing or pooping on the floor or whatever it is, you don't first of all, don't stop them. You don't hit the dog in the middle of peeing or kick the dog or in the middle of pooping or whatever it is. Don't do that. Allow them to finish, honestly, and then you reprimand them, right? Sometimes they have signals. For example, with Elvis and Tahira, Bella and Crinkle, they have a routine, right? We get up in the morning at 6. Well, not we. I don't get up that early. Mommy gets up in the morning at 6 a.m. with them every morning on the clock, and they are let outside to go to the bathroom. That's the first bathroom break that they get. Throughout the day, we monitor their signals. So Elvis might come and sit in front of you, and he's just looking at you. He's looking at you and he's looking at the grill. He's looking at you and he's looking at the grill. That's a sign, hey, I want to go to the bathroom. He was trained to do that from he was younger. He also has a tendency, as well as the bigger dogs in the house, they have a tendency to want to sit at the grill, right? And there are other little things that you can look out for as bathroom signals, right? If they're walking around and sniffing things a lot, that's probably a sign that they want to go to the bathroom. They're looking for somewhere to mark their territory. So you observe them over time. You understand your pet and you act accordingly, right? With the babies, it's the same thing. You train them. Right now, the last set of puppies that we have, they have their little play area, which is tile, right? So they're on the floor. Once they have to go to the bathroom, they head for the newspaper. So they don't make any mistakes right now because they are well trained. Mommy invests the time to train them and talk to them and nurture them and grow them properly. Right, guys? Alright. So the third thing was female puppies being aggressive. So yes, I can attest to this, as we've had multiple female dogs. The puppies tend to be extremely aggressive with them one another. It's the same way like how siblings would have fight. The puppy them at it. Sometimes you sleep 2-3 o'clock in the morning, you hear somebody bawl out. It's one puppy bite the next puppy and you have to go around and talk to them, and it's almost like raising a child. Right? It is literally almost like raising a child and not children. Okay? So that is something that happens. So it's not something to be alarmed about, or you're worried that the puppies aren't getting along or they don't like each other. Puppies play rough, yeah? Them play rough. I don't think this one depends on the breed of dog. It's just puppies across the board ramp rough. Them a growl after each other, them a bite after them one another, them just crazy. They're like children. They're like siblings with each other, right? If it is that you notice that a puppy is injuring another puppy, then you want to remove that aggressor or that bully from the space, right? So that puppy might have to stay by he or she self, right? We personally have never had to do that, not that I can recall. If it is that you notice a puppy is definitely harming the other puppies in the litter, that's definitely something you don't want, because you don't want blood and all of them something there, and wounds, and you have to spend money on beds and all them something there. So you can remove that puppy from the space, keep that puppy by themselves, and you deal with that situation as it arises. You train the puppy, talk to the puppy, ensure that the puppy is reprimanded for his or her behavior. Do not kick the dog. We don't kick our dogs. We hit them lightly. We hit them lightly if they definitely do something that is out of turn. But when it comes down to puppies, you don't want to kick or hit or grab or throw. Or I've seen people throw puppies and like it's a game, and it's crazy. Don't treat your animals like that. Alright, because you wouldn't treat your child like that. Alright, so just bear that in mind. So next we have mummies being extremely aggressive during pregnancy. So yes, this does happen because they're pregnant, and just as humans, they go through mood swings and hormonal changes and everything like that. I realize dogs are a lot like us, so a lot of things that we go through, they go through as well, right? So if you do have a mama dog that is aggressive during pregnancy, that's why I believe I said in the previous video she's supposed to have her own space. Either it is a big cage, or it is a waiting box, or maybe a space in the bathroom, or a space on the veranda or somewhere where she can really be by herself, right? If you allow her to just go along with the pregnancy, you know, while monitoring her, making sure she's okay and everything, I think that tends to lessen the aggression levels, right? And then you also have to remember that it's maternal instinct kicking in as well, especially if you have a rescue dog or it was a stray dog that you know have, or anything like that, or an adopted dog that maybe had a really rough past. They're definitely going to be aggressive in certain situations, because in their head they're like, okay, this person might be trying to hurt me or whatever. But again, this is something that takes patience to learn and to understand, and you just work with it. Alright, so someone had asked why don't they breastfeed after the immunization. So after the first, when you go to the vet and you get them their first immunization at 6 weeks, you are told, or you're supposed to be told, no more breastfeeding for them. That is it. Now the reason for this is because the medication in the immunization clashes with something that is in the breast milk of the mother, and then it makes the immunization not work. So it's almost like giving the child a medication that is not going to work, right? You're counteracting it, and you don't want that. You want nice, healthy dogs, right? Nice, healthy puppies. So that is the reason for it, right? It's right now we're going through it, and it's hard. Trust me. Like the mommy that goes around there all the time, crying for her puppy. She won't be with them. She won't see them. They do the same thing. Sometimes I can't sleep at night because it's just noise constantly throughout. It is definitely a rough time, but you know, it's not gonna last forever, right? It's definitely not gonna last forever. Now someone had asked about the diet of dogs. Right now, the diet of your dog can affect a lot of things: their behavior, their mood, their overall personality, their coat, all of those kind of things. Now, when you give your dog house food, it is damaging to them. There are a lot of things that dogs cannot eat. For example, our dogs are lactose. You know, dogs not supposed to have cheese, milk, chocolate, none of them stuff there. No peanuts, no raisins, none of those kind of things. Right? Those things are deadly to dogs. Extremely deadly. It will kill them. Right? So we give them kibble. You can buy kibble at supermarkets. Places like Price Mart, Thailand, they have dog food. So yeah, as it relates to the house food aspect, the only house food we give them, and it is very rare, maybe like once a month, the only house food we give them is cooked rice. That's about it. But they don't get, like some people feed them dog chicken constantly and them kind of stuff there. You're damaging the dog, in my opinion. So spend the money and get the food that was engineered for the dog food. Spend the money and get the food that was made for the dog, right? Giving your dog the right food also helps them to live a long, healthy life, right? They have a better coat when they have dog food. I know persons that give their dog house food and the dog is in terrible condition. The dog fur just not cute. The dog overall just looks like it's suffering. But anyways, it's rough. So if you can, I do know that dog food can be a bit expensive, but if you can, do try to give them dog food, kibble, as often as possible. If it is that you want to swap between the kibble and the cooked rice, you can. Do not give puppies cooked rice. Don't do that. So the hard food like that is when they're maybe after they've passed the immunization stage, in my belief. So after those 18 weeks, that's when they can start eating probably cooked rice and maybe a little meat here and there, but not too much, you know. So yeah, Alright, so the next thing I'm going to be addressing is the licking of the hands and the feet, right? As it regards to puppies. So do not let your puppies lick your hands or your feet, right? Or go outside. I have like a paper thing I'm reading off of. Or go outside until after they have been fully immunized, right? They can catch diseases, they can get sick. There are lots of things that can happen to them because they're vulnerable. Again, they're almost like babies, they're like children, right? They can catch things like parvo. Parvo is something that if your dog catches it, you don't know if the dog will live or die. There's no guarantee for it. We've been up by JSPCA, dogs have had parvo. Some make it, some don't. It's extremely sad. You also don't want to let them go outside during the rainy season or when it just finished rain. You don't let them go outside. There are lots of germs and bacteria that rise up in the earth when the earth is wet, right? So you don't want them going outside, walking up and down, tracking those bacteria back into the house, spreading it to the other dogs. If you have puppies, they're spreading it to the puppies. You don't want that. Also, you're not supposed to allow puppies to interact with if you have bigger dogs in your house, they don't interact with them until after they are fully immunized. Because again, the bigger dogs can have illnesses or germs or bacteria on them. They're playing with the puppies and stuff, and they pass it on to them, and then the puppies get sick, right? And you're there with another vet bill. All right. So again, or next is the whole idea of the living space for the puppies or dogs in general. So you want to ensure that the living space is clean and sanitized. Well, I don't know if sanitized is the right word to use, but clean, right? So if you put down newspaper for them and you realize that they use the newspaper, you check maybe like every 2-3 hours or maybe every 4 hours, right? And it's dirty, you dispose of it. You don't just leave it, right? Or you don't put clean newspaper over it, right? I know persons that do that, like their dog poops and instead of taking it up, they just put clean newspaper over it and leave it and just say they're going to clean it another time. Don't do that, alright? Ensure that the living space is clean for both dogs and puppies, right? So you have to change the newspaper regularly. The time frame of regularly really depends on you and your schedule. You know how often you can actually do it. And you also want to ensure that you always give them fresh food, fresh water. At least every week or every 2 weeks, you try to wash out their bowls, clean their bowls, right? Because you don't know what crawls on the ground at night. You don't know, probably fly pitch on the dog food, and you know, fly carry diseases and all them, something there. Probably bug dropping out the water and them that they are drinking said way. You don't want that. So all kinds of bacteria can be in the food bowl, in the water bowl, and you don't even know. So try at least every week, every weekend, or every 2 weeks, you know, clean their food bowl, clean their water bowl. You give them fresh food, fresh water at least twice a day. At least twice a day. Alright? So the last thing I'm going to be addressing is as it relates to pregnant mummies, again, pregnant mama dogs. So if you have stairs in your house, right, be sure to, when a mama dog is pregnant, don't have her up and down the stairs. In the early stages of pregnancy, I think it's okay because again, they're pregnant for about 58 to 68 days. So maybe the first month, or not even month, maybe the first 3 weeks it might be fine depending on the size of your dog, right? But for example, you have stairs in your house, you have a small dog that is pregnant, she's going up the stairs, she's hitting her belly, she can't climb up the stairs properly. You don't want that. That's why I said in the previous video they're supposed to be kept, they're supposed to be kept in a confined space, right? You check on her, you monitor her, ensure she's okay, change her water, change her newspapers, change her food, all those kind of things. Alright, so yeah, for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, please remember to like, comment if you have any more questions, and share with your friends, and also subscribe to my channel to keep updated. I'm honestly doing my best to post at least twice a month. I know I have definitely been inconsistent because so many things have just been happening, but I'm really truly trying my best to work on a schedule, right? The next